Fearless Gamers, Matt here for Fearless Games, and today I'm doing another entry in the book corner, and today's book is going to be Ravenwing by Gav Thorpe. Hold on a second. Okay. So, again, another Gav Thorpe novel because, well, he seems to be just finding ways onto my shelf. I love his books. So far, out of all the Black Library authors, he's by far my favorite thus far. And this was a novel that came out in conjunction with the Dark Angel Codex release, and is a story that takes place amongst three characters. Samael, the Grandmaster of the Second Company, known as the Ravenwing, the newly initiated into the Ravenwing member Arnell, and a member of the Fifth Company, Telemenus. And it is their story amongst the Ravenwing combined with the Fifth Company in order to take care of a mission, which was to seize a tyrant that was causing issues on a planet. But the Ravenwing also had a secondary goal in mind. This leads them down a trail which brings them to events that have happened earlier on in the past of the not only just the Dark Angels, but also in novels. And this leads them to on an exposition to go down paths that are darker than they've ever been before for these Marines, minus Samael. And they start stumbling on that the Dark Angels are not all that they seem. This is an amazing book for the sheer fact that, one, it's of present time. Like Calidus, the Purging of Calidus, it is nothing to do about the fall of Caliban or any of that stuff. It is the Dark Angels, here and now, present time, and that right there makes it a plus, because a lot of people tend to just write about the past of the Dark Angels before the Horus Heresy and all that. And it's not fun anymore. It was cool with the one or two books that we got, but eventually it does get old. And this is a nice, refreshing look at the Dark Angels in a time period that is very rarely used, in a manner that's very rarely used with the Dark Angels. What's great about it is you get a nice insight to how the Ravenwing work, how they operate, who needs to be what rank to know what. It's great, especially if you've been reading the Dark Angels Codex and you're like, what? So who knows what now? This kind of settles how much you know in their different ranks in the Ravenwing and stuff like that. It also gives us a nice perspective of the Ravenwing from the outside, through the Fifth Company's point of view. As mentioned before, Telemenus is a member of the Fifth Company whose goal in this whole thing is to get the honor of basically achieving a certain ranking in marksmanship. And his feelings about how the Ravenwing are, and it's basically, when we get to him, we're seeing his perception of him raising his goal and his perception of the Ravenwing when it comes to the chapter as a whole and their part of it. With Arnell, we're getting a nice look at just the discovery of more than what you've already discovered in the being a Dark Angel, and starting to see what it's slowly starting to understand the true meaning behind being a Dark Angel. And then we've got Samael, who's basically teetering on the brink of, how do I work with an outside group without them finding out more than they need to know? And how do we keep it in such a way where we don't look suspicious to our battle brothers and we bring up questions that we cannot answer? It's a great read in that front. You get a nice, again, great organizational look at the Ravenwing and the Fifth Company. What's also really nice about it is the characters. Again, with Gav Thorpe, you have very humanistic characters. And what's really cool about this is like I said, Telemenus has the simplest of motivations in this book, but it makes so much sense. And it's like, wow, so that's the mindset of a Space Marine. It really gives you a great mindset of them, because normally in a lot of the books I've read, it's, you know, it's sergeants and commanders and librarians and chaplains. Very rarely is it just a generic Marine. And so he's that insight into what generic Marines really think about their place in the Imperium and the chapter, and what it is that drives them forward to do the things that they do. It's a wonderful read on that front. I will say that sometimes it can be confusing as to who is it where and what group we're talking about. Primarily because I keep forgetting who's the Ravenwing guy and who's the 5th Company guy. And Gav Thorpe does not put in who's in the front of his books. There were 1 or 2 moments where I was a little confused about what was going on, but it wasn't that horrible. And again, you get a more interesting look at the Fallen as well in the book, in terms of, you know, what the Ravenwing knows, their Ravenwing's perception of, and stuff like that. As with Gav Thorpe, simple terminology and a very easy read. It's a very smooth read, and it is action-packed. It'll keep you on your toes. You'll be wondering what will happen next, and you'll constantly be turning pages just to find out where the book is going and what's going to end up happening. If you're new to the Dark Angels, or you're an old diehard Dark Angels fan, great read. You'll get a lot out of this book. If you're just a casual Space Marine fan or non-Space Marine fan, it's entertaining. Nonetheless, even if you're not a fan of the Dark Angels, I think that pretty much any fan of any army would get a kick out of this book. It is still available in Barnes & Noble or Amazon.com or Black Library. Pick your choice. And though some people might say you would need to read the Angels of Darkness book before this, I can see where they would say that you would need to, but it's not necessary at all. You will be getting, it's one of those aha moments you'll get in the book, but without it, it just builds more mystery, and that can add even more to it than knowing. So, thank you all for watching. If there's any books that you want me to look over, or give a readout, or your own opinions on Ravenwing, leave a comment in the comments below. Just again, be civil and polite to everybody. If you haven't already, subscribe so you can see these book reviews as they come out. And if you haven't yet, like us on our Facebook page. There's a link in the description. That way you can keep on top of what's going on with the Fearless. Random quotes of the day, just random thoughts, and quick news that before it comes out, before we throw in a podcast or Touching Base, find out when we've recorded episodes of Touching Base so you get a better idea of when they'll be coming out. And that is all for right now. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, Fearless Gamers, take care.